Alright, Blizzard, let's talk heroes. Malthael. We keep asking for it, you keep actively ignoring it. This is a submission from Oh. Okay, real quick before we get started here, this is the same person who suggested the Garbod the Weak concept a little while ago, and I have been pointed out that I kept calling it a he when it is in fact female. So I have committed the greatest sin of 2016, assuming someone's gender, and I apologize. Seriously though, this is another great idea, and I'm excited to be doing this, so, you know, let's get back into it. So, as I was saying, Malthael has been requested quite a bit. He's up in, like, the top 3 or 4 people that I've seen the most requests for hero ideas, with, like, Deckard Cain, Kel'Thuzad, a lot of us for Imperius, like, but this guy is always being brought up because we've already got a tank angel, we've already got a support angel. Let's get an assassin angel in there, why the hell not? We already got one, right? And then we just need a specialist, but I'm not sure who the hell that would be. But yeah, if you remember, Malthael was the main focus of the Diablo 3's expansion Reaper of Souls. So far the only expansion, although I've heard rumors of another one, but here we go. He's the aspect of death, or the angel of death, he's death. And you can't stop death. Well, you can, but you shouldn't. People need to die. Whoa. So, he's got some pretty decent stats. He's around the same spots as Thrall, because Vercaris is thankfully for me at least, because I'm not good at doing math on the fly, put some comparisons in for Thrall so I can get a rough idea of where Malthael should be at, which is really handy. Thank you for that. Combat trait is Marked for Death, with a cute little Reaper as an icon right now. Mark a nearby hero for death, causing you to deal 25 more physical damage to them. This lasts indefinitely. You can only mark one hero for death at a time. If that hero dies, the cooldown of this ability is refreshed. Now, before I started recording this video, I actually got a message from Vercaris asking that after the last one, if I had any thoughts on the build itself before I do a video, I should send them to her. And that way she can augment them as need be. Now, I did actually send off quite a big list of, like, I read this, here's what I thought. And what has not been changed, the things that I'll be explaining in this video, what has been changed, I'll just run it as naturally. So my thoughts on Marked for Death was, it's a neat idea, but it seems too strong right out of the gates. Giving yourself 25 extra damage to a character with no drawback to it whatsoever seems too powerful for just a passive trait for an assassin, because assassins are already really good at being bursty heroes as it is. Like, you point at something and it's dead. And once again, this is an issue I always run into with these fan-made heroes, is not pointing out that things don't stack when they shouldn't stack. Like, just to use it, Tyrande as an example. You mark something for 25% more damage from you, and then Tyrande marks it again, giving more of a damage boost to your attacks. Now you're dealing 30, 40, 50%, like, you know, whatever else. All the damage that's going to be stacking is going to be insane, and then people are just going to go, pop, and they're dead. And it's crazy. My concept for Malthael was a little bit different, but it was basically based on Vercaris' own idea. That's where I got the idea from it, and what I suggested she do was make Malthael more of a 1v1 me scrub kind of character. Like, you mark a character for death, you do additional damage to that character, and the rest of your abilities will reflect, like, if you're hitting a marked target, it does this. And if a marked target is hitting you, it stops this kind of things. But in response to that, you would also deal less damage and maybe take more damage from non-marked creatures. So this is literally trying to implement the find that one roaming person, like you see a Sylvanas pushing bottom. You mark that Sylvanas and you kill her ass. That was what I built, that was what I suggested Malthael be built around. Now obviously, this has not been changed, and that's fine. Because again, this idea could still work. It just needs minor tweaking to the damage and things like that. The reason I brought up the suggestion that I had for it is because I'm going to be referring back to that over the course of this, if other things have not been changed to augment it. Which is fine, because this is still me reviewing Vercaris' idea, but also with my own kind of flavor to it. So the primary abilities, Phantasmal form is your Q. I'm just going to assume because it just says 1, 2, 3, but it's supposed to be QWE. Activate to become unstoppable, able to travel through enemies and give a 70% movement speed for 0.75 seconds. You cannot be damaged by your marked target for this duration. Now see, that right there is where I started getting the idea that I just talked about, where it becomes a you versus them kind of mentality. I like that. I really like that. The problem I have with this is just it's just a minor thing for me. I don't like movement-based abilities that don't do damage as my Q. That is literally just a hang-up that I myself have. It is not a meta thing. It's not even like a common thing from what I can gather. It's just Leoric, Sylvanas, Li Ming, anyone who has a movement ability, it's never their Q. Q should be an attack, in my opinion. It should always be an attack. It should always be damage in some way. You want an escape, you want to move, you want to reshuffle, you want to blink, any of that, make it the E. Make it the W, but don't make it Q. So that's just a minor thing for myself. It does have a pretty high cooldown, which is fine because it does make you unstoppable, but it's the same. I look at this and I think that's Leoric's Ghost. It's Leoric's Ghost with the added benefit of whatever you're 1v1ing can't hurt you. So, it's a nice thing. I think we'd have to change one or two things just so it's not a direct copy of Leoric's ability, but better. But beyond that, it does work. I get it. Because it does also play into his character. If you remember the opening cutscene to Reaper of Souls, Malthael totally pulled this stunt where he just kind of ghosted forward and no one could hurt him. So it works. It does. It makes sense with the character, which I like. Your W is Sickle Strike. Your next basic attack deals 50% more damage and slows the target by 80%, decaying over 2 seconds. Sex Edition with 25% damage from Mark for Death. See, now for this one, Varkarius has started like including this does stack, which I like. I've been bringing that up a lot. Problem is, that's a lot of friggin' damage. That's 75% damage to the extra character off your next basic attack. Now, that said, it's your next basic attack. So I'm okay with that. It's just augmenting something that's already going to be... It's not ability damage, it's basic attack damage. And armor already does something for that. So you've already got something that kind of stops basic attack damage, which is fine. Because that just means Malthael is not going to be good at killing tanks. And that's fine. That means you're going to be killing squishies who don't have armor. So, good for you. My other problem with this one is it slows the target down by 80%. That's a lot of a slow for just a W. And I did bring this up, and Varkarius assured me that other characters actually have a slow that's just about on par with this. I believe she listed Joanna as an example, and Joanna's slow is pretty big. It just screw them over. Plus, it pulls them in and stuns them too. So, one can make the argument that's worse. My thoughts on that are Joanna's a tank or a warrior. I keep using the term tank whenever I talk about warriors. Joanna's a warrior. Your job is to inflict CC, peel for your allies, slow enemies down, stun them, do things like that so that your assassins can jump on them. An assassin that can do that without the need of a warrior might be too strong on their own. So, while I don't think this shouldn't remove the slow, I mean, the slow is the whole ability, really. 80% seems too strong, but it does decay over 2 seconds, which is pretty fast, so there's that. I also kind of think that, and this is just me here, I kind of think this ability here, look at the fact that your Q does nothing but move you, and the W does nothing but buff and a basic attack. You're already, like for an assassin, you're already losing a lot of ability power based on 2 moves. So there's that. I mean, unless the E is something awesome, I haven't gotten that far yet, but I kind of think that this should do something more for just a basic ability damage, or it doesn't list any kind of a range. This maybe you should be able to do it from a distance. So, okay. So let's say you cast this on your target of marked for death. Add a range to it. If you cast this on, like, you just get jumped by someone and you hit Sickle Strike on them, then it does it as it is. But if you're targeting your person who is marked for death, then you should get a range on it so you can hit them from a distance and be like, you! And they get slowed, and then you can run up and do your attack. That's what I would do with it, is basically channel this with your passive, your trait, so it combos together better. Again, I would still augment the slow a little bit, but that's what I would do with it. Sealed Fate. Throw a fast-moving chain forward with a decent range. If it hits an enemy, it latches onto them for 2 seconds. If the chain hits a non-marked enemy, Spectral Chain extends forward up to the same maximum range until it hits a marked enemy. If it does, chain latches onto them instead. That's a little confusingly worded. So, if I throw out a chain, and if it hits my marked target, we're good. If it hits someone I didn't mark, it continues on until I hit a marked target? Is that what I'm getting? Because that's strange. Because, like, that's implying that... Okay, I think what this is, and Varkarius, if you're watching, please feel free to correct me here, but I believe what this is saying is, let's say that you're fighting a Sonya and a Vala, and you've marked Vala, but Sonya's obviously being in your way and peeling for the Vala, so she can just plink at you with her arrows. So you throw the chain, and it hits Sonya, but you didn't mark Sonya, and Vala's behind it, so it would go through and hit Vala, so you've now successfully hit the target you wanted. I guess that's what that's trying to refer to. But, let's switch the example up here. You've marked Vala, but Vala's in a different lane than you are, and you're fighting Sonya, and you throw the chain at Sonya. Now, what this says to me is this shouldn't hit Sonya and then deviate down to the next lane where Vala is and hit Vala instead. I think what this is saying is if you throw it out and someone blocks for it, they can't block for it. So it's still a skill shot, but there's a better chance to hit your target than if you just threw it out and it hit the first enemy. I think that's what this is trying to say. So it basically is not blocked by first enemy if you've got someone marked. If that's what this is going for, that's fine. It's just the wording kind of threw me here. Anyway, there's more. If it does, the chain latches onto them instead. This allows you to latch on your marked target even if they're being hiding behind a minion wave. Okay, so that's essentially, yeah, I should have just kept reading. But yeah, that's essentially what it's going for here. Is basically you throw your chain out. If your target is if your marked target is valid, you're gonna hit them as long as you don't whiff your skill shot and throw it that way. Reactivate this ability to root the target as you charge into them, dealing like minor damage. Chain cannot be broken by distance, and if you do not release your E key, you will automatically recast this ability when the 2-second duration ends. Now, if you do not release the E key part, I did also comment on when I sent my thoughts to Vercaris, and she never confirmed it for me, but what I believe this is supposed to refer to is if you do not reactivate your ability. So, because no attack or no ability in all of Heroes of the Storm forces you to hold down a button at any point that I can think of. So what I'm assuming this is like, you throw it, you latch on, you hit it again, you dive them. That's what I think it is. It's kind of like Sonya's Spear, but you have the option to not immediately dive into a bad situation if you hit them. But if you don't, well, I guess it's gonna do it anyway. You can't really release the chain. So I guess what this is trying to say here is if you throw out your chain, you can choose when to dive them, as opposed to Sonya's, which is Ancient Spear just pulls you immediately to them. So that could be handy if you just see a bad situation, like, I'm trying to think of a really bad example, like, you latch onto a Nova, and in response they precision strike themselves, so that when you dive in, you get killed by it. But maybe you could choose to be like, oh, wait 2 seconds. Okay, goes off, dive in. The other thing is, I kind of like this because it kind of functions like the Bear Trap ability Kled in League of Legends has, where you throw it and you start pulling yourself towards them. But yeah, no, I like that, and that kind of works because it does tie into, like, so you mark them. You Sealed Fate them, you chain them, you drag yourself towards them, you Sickle Strike them to do the extra damage, you get the slow, another ally jumps on and does some damage, you Phantasmal form away. So you've got a combo, you've got a D-E-W-Q combo, essentially. Which does work. Yeah, my only complaint about this one is, it seems a little wordy. I find a better way to word that, and you got something good here. The cooldown's also kind of long for something that doesn't do a lot of damage, and it's, if you really think about it, this is your only ability damage in your basic kit. Sickle Strike doesn't count as ability damage, it's basic attack damage. So that's what I'm going to say about that one, is maybe reduce the cooldown a bit or up the damage a little bit, because you have no ability damage. And if they build armor, or if you're fighting a tank, you're fucked. You're not going to... Like, you need someone who shreds your armor, because your passive is not going to do enough to stop that armor. Like, seriously, I think Joanna has, like, what, 20 armor or 30 armor by default? That completely negates your marked for death if you're stuck fighting one. Just alone. Plus there's shields and everything. Ugh, it's ugly. Secondary ability. Approach of Death. I guess this is like a one, like Zul's armor, like he starts with this kind of thing, because it doesn't say that you should have this. Activate to have Malthael move towards the closest marked target. This does not reveal the location of your marked target, but you can figure out roughly where they are by seeing the direction that Malthael heads. You start with... Okay, so it is like Zul's armor. Alright, so I had some thoughts on this one as well, and I find it weird that it's an ability that just moves your character for you. Not like not like the chain where it pulls you towards something. You've decided to do that. You've thrown it out, you've aimed it, and then it's gonna move you. My thoughts on this one is you click a button, and if you just don't move your character starts kind of waddling towards where it's supposed to be. And that's a weird mechanic. One, I'm not even sure if Blizzard could program that. They probably could, but I'm not sure if they could program that into a game like this without fucking something up, or having a lot of glitches come back to bite them in the ass. But not only that, this doesn't seem to do all that much. Approach of Death, I kind of feel like, what I would say is make it a reveal, but like a really, really, really short-lasting reveal that only affects you. So like, your allies don't get to see where your marked target is, you do. I would go with that. And then maybe, then you can include a talent later on that allows you to maybe buff it. So it is a global reveal, like, so your allies could see it. So like, there's a pesky Valir that's annoying the crap out of you, and you don't have anyone with Sentry Drone, or Scouting Drone, or whatever the hell it's called. Then at some point during the battle, you'll find them, you'll mark them, because I'm assuming you can't mark from a global distance, because that's crazy stupid. Plus, how would you be able to point it with Fog of War? Anyway, But once you latch onto that Valyria, you leave your mark on them and you just keep hitting one every... Like, obviously this would have to increase the cooldown by quite a bit, so you can't just be like, bink, 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 she's right there, bink. You shouldn't be getting assassinated, bink, she's right there. Yeah, I know, I kind of think that's the better way to go with it. I mean, obviously it doesn't fit with the approach of death mentality of the name, but it would be more useful in the long run, because otherwise you're just clicking this and it's a movement ability and it doesn't do anything for you. Like, it gives you a rough idea. You're going to be moving it. It does not say this doesn't dismount you, so I'm assuming you'd be on your horse or your mount or whatever. You click the button, you dismount, you start walking towards where you're supposed to be. By the time you get back on your horse and go find that person, they're probably gone. So, in essence, this ability kind of loses all focus and meaning really quickly. But I might be overanalyzing it, that's what I do. Heroic abilities. Deadly Sweep. After a 1 second delay, sweep your scythe in a massive arc. Enemies take small to moderate damage and are knocked back. Marked targets are not knocked back, but stunned for 0.5 seconds and take bonus damage equal to 50% of their max health. That I like, because one, it chains with your passive, and that's something that a lot more characters need to start doing, is chaining abilities to their passive, so everything works together synonymously. My only addition to this one, it's the same addition I had to Valkyris herself, is in addition to knocking non-marked targets back, I think it should draw the marked target in. So it's like, no, you don't bring your friends, me and him are going to fight. I think that idea would work much better with it, but beyond that, even if you don't choose to add that, this ability is still really, really good. It fits with the passive. It doesn't have broken damage, but it provides some nice CC, as well as damage, and it does additional damage with your marked target, so it's all good. And the cooldown is not exceed. I would raise the cooldown a little bit more than this, just for how good it could be, but it's not bad. It's definitely not. The only thing you have to be wary of this one is if you knock back a target that someone else was going to dive, but fuck it, you're an assassin. That's your job. And then the other one is Soulstone Empowerment. Activate to gain 30 armor and attack damage for 6 seconds. You can quest with this one, which is a unique thing, but I've seen that a lot in fan-made builds where heroics can be quested. So, I don't think there's anyone in the actual game right now that has that. Maybe I'm wrong. Quest. Allied and enemy heroes now drop souls that can be picked up. For every soul you pick up, you gain a stack of Stolen Soul. Wow, try saying that 3 times fast. And increases the attack damage bonus of this ability by 20% up to a maximum of 15 stacks. Lose half stacks after use. So with a maximum of 15, and thankfully she's put the math in for me, maximum stacks equates to 316 bonus damage at level 20. See, that's not too bad, because that sounds more broken than it is until you see the math behind it, and then it's like, alright, that's not too bad. Now, the only thing I look at this is like, this is just an ultimate that's just a buff, and we already have a lot of those, like Muradin or Sonya or something like that. Do we really need more of that? Like, I can't think of any other alternatives right now. It seems like it should do much more for that. Like, Sonya's and Muradin's give them mad sustain, but they're also tanks. They're also warriors. You're an assassin. You, like, even though this does up your damage... No, you know what? No, I'm definitely nitpicking here. This is... what I'm thinking of is... The reason I have an issue with this is because I keep going to other assassins with my mind, like, this wouldn't help Vala, this wouldn't help Li Ming, this wouldn't help Jaina. But it's because that's not how they're built. It very much seems to me that you've built Malthael as an auto-attack champion, which we already have a few of those, but that's not to say we can't have more of them. Just how you built them. This ability would actually help with that. This would probably help more than Deadly Sweep would, because you're buffing your damage overall, not just your ability damage, and all your kit seems to be buffing your auto attack, or at least augmenting your auto attack more than your ability damage. So this might actually be the better way to go in the long run. So maybe that's why I wasn't thinking about it clearly, is I was thinking of everybody else, not the way you've presented Malthael to us. So yeah, no, I guess in taking that into consideration, Soulstone Empowerment is the better ability to go with. And thankfully, unlike Garbod the Strong, I hate to keep bringing this up, this ability doesn't seem broken as all hell. So, like, again, you've done a really good job of balancing this one after the last one. So, you know, kudos to that. Alright, and we get some talents here to look through. So, level 1 has Soul Drain. Phantasmal form is active. Activating a marked target causes you to heal for 15... Oh, attacking a marked target. Wait. Did I read Phantasmal form wrong? Oh, okay. See, there's something I didn't consider. Phantasmal form doesn't stop you from attacking or using abilities. I just assumed that was built as the escape or the movement ability, but you can actually attack during it. That's interesting. I don't know why I didn't consider that, but that's pretty cool. Okay. So when it's active, attacking a marked target causes you to heal 50% of your max HP over 5 seconds. Triggers only once per cast. That's cool. I don't have any problems with that. Especially considering it You know, I'm sure a lot of people, and I might be saying this just so I feel less stupid, but I'm sure a lot of people would look at that and not think they could attack during it. So this would be handy to kind of like give them a, hey, you can do that. And it's beneficial to do so because you're unstoppable. Plus, if you activate it and start attacking the guy you've marked, he can't trade with you. He can't hurt you. So yeah, that could be good. All right, so what's next? Increase the duration of Phantasmal form by 0.5 seconds, but remove... no, that's too much of a downside. You reduce its... you increase its duration by 0.5 seconds, but you cut its movement speed by 25%, or 20%, because it was 70%, right? Was 70%? 70%, okay. You see, you lose 20% movement speed for 0.5 of a second. That is not enough for trade. That'd be like... I'd say increase the duration by 1 second to get that much of a drop-off, because 0.5 seconds is not enough time. Not for that. And damn magic every 8 seconds. Gain a stack that gives you 25 spell armor for... Duh, see, that right there, I have a problem with that. You're an assassin. You should not be building tank stats, defensive stats on an assassin. And if you are, they should also be giving you some kind of way to attack more. Because I get this is so you could dive in and not get killed by a mage. I get that, but it's counterintuitive to what you've built so far. If you're that worried about it, mark that target and do your Phantasmal form up to them and attack them as you're going. They'll run. They might try to peel for you. Like if you're attacking Jin, they might drop a blizzard as they start running away from you. But that's it. You shouldn't need to build dampened magic on Malthael. Not at all. Level 4 is Eviscerate. I hate to point this out, but Valeera already has that. So you can't make an ability on one champion a talent on another. I don't think that works at all. So change the name on that one. Sickle Strike deals more damage over 5 seconds and halves healing for the duration. That I like. I do. But I don't think it should add damage and half the healing. What I would do is make that like a rending ability. Give it a different name for one thing. Make it a rending ability that maybe not even half healing. I would up it more. Like 75% of healing is quashed for 5 or 6 seconds, but no more extra damage. Because that ability, that talent alone is going to be good, but I don't think I would make it so you can do extra damage and half healing. Just pick one or the other, because there's not enough abilities that quash healing in this game. I don't think there's really any that I can think of right now. I think Variant has one, maybe. And I haven't played Variant, so I'm not sure. But beyond that, yeah, we could use more of that kind of thing. So that's good enough on its own. You don't need to add damage to it. Deadly Master Quest, collect Raging Globes. Every Raging Globe you collect increases health by 1, up to 30. The problem I have with this one here is every Raging Globe quest that I've ever seen in a character has been a level 1 quest. You don't need to take it later. So maybe take off Dampened Magic or move it if you're insisting on having it and putting Deadly Master on level 1. Just because, otherwise, level 4, you're missing a lot of globes you could have gotten otherwise. Like, a lot. Especially on something like Brax's Holdout, where you could just pick them up off the map, too. That's a lot of globes you could be getting the entire time. The Reaping. Score a takedown against marked targets. Rewards. Each takedown increases the base movement speed up to 3. Up to 15. Okay, here's my thoughts on this one. It increases movement speed. That's actually kind of handy, but the problem is it doesn't really fit. Like, I guess you could be moving faster towards your target to intending to reap them and all that. I would look at this and be like, I would start increasing the damage against more targets up to that point. Or if you'd taken my initial suggestion and gone for, like, you deal less damage to other things that are not marked, you could also use this talent as a way to reduce the lack of damage you're dealing. So if you start with a minus 10% damage to non-marked targets, you could slowly rid yourself of that with this talent, if that makes any sense. But again, like, this is spitballing here. I just feel like the movement speed seems kind of like out of left field. Like, where did that come from? I would have gone for damage, but it's not a bad thing. I don't think I would change this. It's just that's a counterpoint I would offer to it. Level 7, Ghostly Presence. If you do not have a marked target, Phantasmal form cools down twice as fast. That's not bad. I mean, I guess if you've squared off and somebody was in a lane and you've killed them, so your cooldown is now reset and or going down, then you could get around faster for Phantasmal form. But the problem with that one is Phantasmal form is so much better when you do have a marked target, because you can use it as an approach, you can use it as an escape, you can do anything with that. So it seems counterintuitive to have it on cooldown twice as fast when you're not using it as much, or when you're not using it to its fullest extent. So it's an interesting talent, and I wouldn't change that because I'd be curious to see how many people would take that and still use it effectively. So I would see that as, like, for educational purposes, I'd want to see that. Change of Fate. Seal of Fate now has 2 seconds reduced cooldown, slows the target by 40% until you reactivate the ability. That further emphasizes that I was pretty sure you did mean release the button, you meant reactivate it. And I like that. I don't have any issues with that one, I like that. Alright, Silent Killer. Sickle Strike silences the foe for the duration of the slow. Mana cost refunded if you strike your marked target. It's not bad. Like an activated silence just whenever you hit something. Oh, it's 2 seconds decaying. Valera already has a silence that you can kick off on. No, okay, that's fine. Because of people like Varian and Alarak who can have a silence like on call with their basic kit, adding a silence to an ability that didn't have a silence before doesn't seem too bad. Because, I mean, we already have characters that can do that at will. So, that's fine. Level 10, blah, blah, blah. Level 13, Poltergeist. Activating Phantasmal form gains 25% attack speed for 3 seconds. This further emphasizes the whole, yes, you can attack during this, so I don't mind that. That's not bad. Plus, it's level 13. You're not going to get that for a while. Death's Embrace. Activate to gain a shield, big shield, that decreases by blah, blah, blah every second. So, by 4 seconds, it would be gone, I guess. Can only be used if your marked target is within melee range. However, your max HP is reduced by 10%. That... See, again, that right there seems counterintuitive. Like, you're getting a shield that allows you to trade, but... And you can only use it when your marked target's there. The thing is as you've already built up Phantasmal Force as something to use to combat your marked target, this makes no sense to get a shield, because you already have an invulnerable, essentially, while you're fighting your marked target. So, yeah, this would help you if you're in a team fight, which is probably what its mentality is. But it just seems like, again, you're building defensive stats on an assassin. It doesn't seem that needed. Like, you can already basically pick a guy out and be like, you're fucking dead, and dive them. So you've already essentially made a 5v5 a 5v4 by just doing that, because you're not even vulnerable while you're fighting that one person. So you pick the Li Ming or the Gul'dan or something, and you just fucking assassinate them. And even if you drop in the process, you've taken out the strongest thing on their side, so your team can have a better chance to push through it. But, so... Again, I'm not a fan of putting these defensive talents on this assassin, at least the way you've built him up. But that's just me. Cold Shroud. Enemies in melee range take damage and are slowed by... Okay. Alright, so this is basically the Burning Rage ability, the fire around you kind of thing, which is usually a warrior thing, but this kind of fits. Cold Shroud kind of fits for Malthael, who can throw himself in, deal damage, and they get slowed, so you're still dealing damage as you're going, because you can just hit them more as they run away from you, which, for an auto-attack champion, is gold. So, that's okay. I'm okay with that. And the slow ends as soon as they get out of their melee range, so as soon as they run away from you, they're gone. But the thing is, can they run when they're... I guess the slow's not going to be that bad, and they can always just knock you back. Giant Killer. Your basic attacks deal bonus damage to targets equal to 1% of their maximum HP, doubled versus marked targets. I like that, because it's like a Giant Killer, but it's for Malthael specifically, and for someone who specializes in death and assassinations and killing, that works really, really well. Death Comes for All. Sealed Fate does 150% damage to non-heroic targets and heroes above 90% health. That's interesting, because that means both. So, non-heroic targets, so minions, mercs, bosses, etc., and heroes above 90% health. So basically, if something's above 90% health, doesn't matter what it is, you're going to deal extra damage to it, which is good, because you're weakening them down. So that's not bad. And Final Destination. Sickle Strike's cooldown is refunded if you use it on your marked target, but only once every 30 seconds. Okay, that's good. So that means you can hit them twice with it, which is good, because that's your whole thing. So that right there might be the best way to go with your level 16 talent, is just taking that and going bam, bam. They start to run away, you chain them, you rush them, you hit them again. Yeah, no, I like that. That's good. Level 20, Deadlier Sweep, which is silly, because that means there should be like a level 30 talent that should be Deadliest Sweep. Deadly Sweep kills your marked target, reduces cooldown by 10 seconds. It's not that bad. What's the cooldown right now? 65 seconds. I don't know. I feel like that should be better. Like, this is your 20 talent. This is your ultimate talent. That's not really doing that much. Just to be specific here. Yes, it does more than what Nova's triple tap does, but Nova's triple tap, if you kill the hero with it, you instantly get it back and you can just do it again. And, well, I'm not saying this should be as good as that because it already does more. It should be better than 10 seconds. I'd say half the cooldown. Because that's still going to be 32 seconds or so. That's still quite a bit of a cooldown, but 10 seconds is not enough to justify taking this at 20. I would actively avoid taking this because it doesn't do enough for me. Eternal Torment, while Soulstone Empowerment is not active, gain half its bonus to attack and armor. And it's... okay, see, that works. That is good. Don't change that. That's good. That works. You named it Boo! Okay, let's see what it does. Teleport behind your marked target. Only works if your marked target is visible on the map and within range. Half screen width. So, pretty decent range to do it. It's much better than the ambush ability that Valyria can buff, so I like that. 60-second cooldown. I'd up the cooldown to about like 75 seconds or 80 seconds because that's pretty good. That's a pretty big jump. But I will ask for, and this is probably the only time I'm ever going to bring this up in one of these videos, please make a custom sound clip for us. So you just go, boom. Like, just something like that. That'd be so good. It'd be so funny. You know, I don't think they would, though, because it would not fit with the character. Not in the least. I don't think Malthael has any kind of a sense of humor at all. But still, it'd be really funny. I love that. Boom. And double kill. You gain a second mark for death ability. As a secondary ability, you can have 2 marked targets. That right there, that is a, that's a 20 talent right there. That's good. That augments your entire kit. It's not just buffing one thing, it's augmenting your entire kit. So you got 3 really good level 20 talents. 4 if you choose to change Deadlier Sweep, but even if you change it to what I just suggested, how good you made Eternal Torment, Boo, and Double Kill, I don't think people will take it. So you're going to have to find something really good to change Deadlier Sweep into, because otherwise people are just not going to take it. But it's an interesting build. Like I said, I do have some thoughts, such as, you know, like I said, making him more of an oriented 1v1 kind of guy, so getting benefits when fighting a marked target, losing things when not fighting a marked target to make him more balanced. That's my thoughts on it. But as a whole, it's an interesting concept. I do like how you've built an auto attack champion, even though we already have some of those. But you've built a melee auto attack champion, and not one like the Butcher, because the Butcher can still go heavy on ability power with his charge, or his hamstring slowing things down, things like that. And he can also heal off of it. Malthael doesn't have like a siphoning really ability besides buffing Phantasmal Force. Phantasmal Form, not Phantasmal Force. But you've done some interesting things here with him. I would play him. I absolutely would. But I will say, on like a grading scale, I was much more excited for Garbod than I would be for Malthael as he is right now. But that's just because he seems a little all over the place. He needs more unification in his talents and his abilities. But that's about it. Like, some things I didn't see a use for, some things I see being too weak, some things I saw being too strong. But that's where balance comes in. And honestly, you're the concept person. You're not meant to be the entire balance team, because they have people who are paid to do that. So, as always, you know, if you guys have any suggestions for heroes that you'd like me to review or critique on this, if they're on this website, you know, give me the basics, give me the pictures, give me something to work with as a visual medium here, and I will be happy to do so. Leave me a comment below, let me know what you think of Malthael here. If you've got any thoughts yourself on how this character could be improved upon or changed, or what you'd do with Malthael, because I know he's a really hot button topic right now. People want him in the game. Post your builds below. We'll take a look, see how they stack up. But as always, this has been really interesting to review. I'd like to thank Valkaris again for sending me another build to review and critique. Again, really sorry I kept calling you a dude. Not intentional. I was going by your profile picture in the last video. I know you've changed to Joanna now, which really helps me out. So, yeah. Thanks for watching, and Blizzard, man, get on this. If you're not going to put this Malthael in the game, just put Malthael in the game. We want to see him. It's not going to go away.